What's going on, everybody? Today I just want to have a little bit of a casual conversation with you all about what the heck is going on at Kabam. Now, I want to set the expectations right up front here and perhaps even disappoint you by saying, I don't know. This is going to be more of a conversation starter than anything because I don't know the inner workings of Kabam. For the most part, I'm just a regular player of the game who also happens to make videos. Some of you will point out that, yes, I'm in the content creator program, but I think for those not in the program, it's really not fully understood what that program entails. Really, it's just we get access to a beta server where we're given early access to champions to test out and make videos on. And then in addition to that, we also have a little bit more of a line of communication to ask, oh, hey, what was the thought process behind designing a champion this way? Or, um, being able to directly report issues going on in the game, like bugs, to hopefully get them resolved faster. Things like that. But anything else, it's really beyond that relationship between content creators and Kabam. So I don't know the inner workings of Kabam. I'm not an investigative journalist to figure that stuff out either. I just want to share my perspective as a longtime player of MCOC of some things that I've noticed recently. And I want to start out by talking about this. This is a post that Jax made a few days ago saying that, well, it was his last week as an MCOC community manager. And this is right off the heels of, Kabam Mike also no longer being a community manager at Kabam. Both of our community managers for MCOC, both gone within about a 5-week period of time. And it's a little bit alarming. I don't know. Before I go on, I will say, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you're using this code, Jax Says Goodbye. You're going to want to go to the web store and enter that code in here. And hopefully it's still active. The code actually came out a couple days ago, so I actually don't know. But what you get is a Guardian based on your progression level. And Guardian was selected because Jax, I think I think he was saying that this was his favorite champion, mostly due to the Canadian representation here. And what a great gift, actually, because if it's your first time getting Guardian, cool, new champion. And if it's not your first time getting Guardian, well, he likes to be high sig level. So first time dupe, 10th time dupe, either way, it's pretty nice to get. So good gift. But let's talk a little bit more about the fact that, again, both of our community managers are no longer at Kabam. So I know not everyone held Kabam Mike in the highest regard. You'd have to be a fool to think otherwise or not see that. A lot of people didn't care all that much for Mike. And I would say Jax was the more likable of the two from the community's perspective, at least. But the way I kind of saw them was actually just as a duo, as a team. You see, Jax, he only started at Kabam, I think 2 years ago, is what it either said here or in the live stream. I'm not sure, but I think he's been here for roughly 2 years. And MCOC, dude, this is a complicated game. And when you're a community manager, you don't just need to have, an understanding of the game, but you need to have an understanding of the community and why the community feels the way that we do about certain things. And for that, you kind of need the history, you need to have been here for when, 12.0 happened, or, have seen some of the other updates, and just have that understanding to be able to relay information from players to devs and devs to players. And yeah, that was, I would say Kabam Mike did a better job of that, whereas Kabam Jax, again, was the more personable of the two. Brought high energy and entertainment value to live streams, to make it better overall, more enjoyable to kind of get that information from Kabam. So as a duo, it's great. And yeah, now they're they're both gone. And it's none of my business really as to why they're gone. I am going to speculate a little bit later on, but the thing is, it's a relationship between an employer and employee. It's not my business. That said, according to the IRS, the ad revenue that I get for making content about MCOC, it's a little bit my business. So I am going to speculate without, digging too deep into it, without asking direct questions, because it's not exactly my place. But before we do move on to that, I do have to say, as a replacement for that duo that I was just talking about of Mike and Jax, I would say we did get a little bit of a best case scenario with Dave coming back. This is actually a video that I'm gonna in just a moment play like a 15-second clip. Actually, I'll just play the clip right now. It's Dave, who just posted a video. This was just a day ago. About how to Dex Onslaught specials. He goes through, special 1, the timings of it, and the special 2. I'm just going to play 10-15 seconds real quick, and then we'll talk. So
first thing to look out for is the delirium, which then inverts your control. So you're going to be swiping forward here in line with the outstretching of Onslaught's arms. The next 2 consecutive dexes start right here where the arm starts to go up, giving you a late frame dex on the first projectile and more than enough time to dex the second. Then after.
So that's it. We're not going to go through the entire special. It's pretty easy to find the video. Dork Lessons is the YouTube channel name. The thing is, Dave has been making some of the highest, if not the highest, production quality content forever, pretty much. You see, Dave didn't always work for Kabam. He was an independent YouTuber, just like myself, just like, the vast majority of us. And he started making deep dive videos, the deep dive videos that we now know on the official MCOC YouTube channel. Those were started by Dave. They've kind of been picked up. Karate Mike has been making them for some time now, but that started with Dave, and that kind of got, Dave's foot in the door, and he's been working at Kabam full time for a while now, but he's been working on other projects than MCOC, and he has just recently come back to working, on the MCOC game team. So to have that kind of deep knowledge that I was talking about, that I feel is so important. Like, you can't just hire someone who, even if they had experience as a community manager for a different game, you can't just bring them in to the MCOC world and have them be that good of a community manager. It's just not possible. It's like an unrealistic expectation to have on someone. But because Dave has been around, even though he's getting caught up on some of the things that he's missed, he still understands this game. He still understands what players want, what players need, what players need. So, I can't state it enough that it's the perfect fit. But it's still replacing a duo, still replacing a team. And although Dave is a very likable guy, Dave I consider to be a good friend, and he's gonna kill it during the live streams and stuff like that because he has experience with that too. It's still like a 2-person team going down to 1, and my concern is that you just need more people. You need, so I don't know what Kabam's plans are, if they already have someone in mind that maybe they're already kind of getting caught up to speed that's going to be helping Dave out, or if it is just going to be Dave, because the reality of it is layoffs might have been involved. Again, I don't know for sure, but just looking around at the general landscape of games in general, the games industry, it's not quite as strong as it once was. There's lots of layoffs going around different studios. Famously, if you're an Xbox player, which I'm not, but I've at least read some of like the articles or the headlines, and know that, well, they've like bought some studios, said the studios did a great job, and then shut them down. You know, so I don't know what the case is here, but it's possible that could be something to do with it all. We'll have to see as time goes on. I will say this most recent update does kind of seem like, what if that was the case and that's the reason why this update is more buggy than usual? But who knows if that's the case? Could it just be, coincidental timing? I don't know. But this update is pretty rough as well. The last time it took me 15 seconds to load into a match is when the game was fairly new and not optimized for Android yet at the time. And yeah, it took me that long to load into and out of every single match. But that hasn't been an issue for years. And yet, when I queue up matches for Battlegrounds, it's taking on average like 15 seconds to get into the fight. I think sometimes it took me up to 20 seconds to get into fights. And it's not just a normal fight where, okay, it's a little annoying. No, it's like the clock is ticking. The mode's not nearly as enjoyable when I just lost how many points because it took this long to load into the fight. And maybe that delay is there for my opponent, but is it as long of a delay, or are they only, waiting 5 to 10 seconds to get in compared to 15 to 20? I don't know, man. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating. Still feels like there's other gameplay issues going on too that have been unresolved for the longest. So I don't know. The next thing I want to talk about too, though, has to do with this little screenshot here. This was posted to Twitter, it looks like, but I really just saw the screenshot itself and thought, wow, that's pretty funny. That this is what someone is going up against in Alliance War. Destroyer, Bullseye, 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 Bullseye. And it's because Bullseye is one of the most annoying defenders that have ever been added to this game. And it's kind of, there's kind of been a string of very difficult and annoying and for a lot of people I would describe as not very fun defenders that have been added recently. And I don't know exactly where you'd want to pinpoint the start to the annoying defenders. There's always been annoying defenders in this game, but I would say for me it probably started around Kindred's time. Kindred, Photon. It's just the type of defenders that are like, okay, we're going to give you nearly unavoidable damage. It's technically avoidable, but it's going to be nearly unavoidable. Or we're going to remove your ability to parry. We're going to remove your ability to dex. It kind of started here, and not every single one of these champs is super annoying as a defender, but, we got Maestro, we got Onslaught, we got Bullseye. We got Dust, Serpent. Like, there was just a long string, and I think Kabam has kind of eased up on that as of recently here. Actually don't know the newest champs as well, but it's kind of a good sign that I don't know them as well, because the moment Bullseye came out, well, it's time to learn. Even though I'm still getting my ass kicked by him, but man, I don't know if that was an attempt on Kabam's part to say, hey, we need to challenge players, whether for more cynical reasons of like, we need to make it so that players are spending more because they're dying more, or spending more because these champs are so strong that you kind of have to buy into the power creep if you want to remain competitive. That way you can set up your defense to look like this. Although, looking at this, I was told as well that defender diversity was like drastically bumped up, so that this isn't really the optimal way to approach things. You still are better off putting down diverse defenders, but still, just the fact that this exists and that players are now going to have to, face these defenders everywhere. And it doesn't matter whether you're a new player or an old player. This is MCOC now, not exactly this, but more so this of just having to deal with a lot, a much more drastically increased difficulty. And I don't want to just give the cynical outlook of, oh, it's to make more money or something like that. A developer's job ultimately is to make the game fun, right? Make it fun, engaging, and of course profitable too. But even setting aside the kind of the money of it all, it's got to be fun and engaging. And the way to keep players engaged is to present challenge. And if there's no challenge, well, then a player's going to get bored and they're going to stop logging in and move on to something else. So it could just be that, Kabam wanted to kind of up the ante to challenge players in a new way. I don't know. It's probably a combination of the two, really, of, giving players that new challenge, but then also releasing something crazy. And then on the back of that, also releasing, counters to that something crazy. I'm sure it's a combination of the two, but maybe they went a little too far. I think they went a little too far, but maybe they felt like they had to in order to, not have to do layoffs. And I don't know where the profits are looking like today at Kabam. I don't know if that plan panned out or if it backfired and then more players are upset and not logging in. I don't know, man. Judging by like the community, it still feels like the community is here, so it doesn't really feel like MCOC is dying. I know some people think that. When sometimes people think the worst and they see something like this with the community managers leaving and they think, oh, it's the end is here for MCOC. But I can assure you that's not the case. People have been saying that forever, and for as many kind of negative things as I'm speculating on here, I would say MCOC, when looking past those negative things, has done a lot of good recently. In particular, my favorite thing is how Kabam is given a little bit more agency on how to get certain champions. We can target, actually here with this most recent offer kind of shows it a little bit, where some of these champions, they're exclusive to different crystals, and just the fact that there are these like different crystals to target, or the deathless champions that look pretty freaking cool. The newest one, not quite released just yet, but we're piecing together to get this deathless champion, to then form a team of deathless champions to unlock the most powerful deathless champion. Awesome. Really awesome. Most people thought Necropolis was potentially the best Everest content we've had. Certainly better than the Abyss, right? So even if you don't think Necropolis was the best, you could at least say heading in the right direction from, the previous piece of Everest content. So, MCOC, it's certainly not dying. I can tell you that much. If MCOC went, so would all of Kabam. So they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep this game going. Because you see, it's not all about MCOC. MCOC is the most profitable title by far at Kabam. It's one of the most profitable titles ever. I was going to say in mobile gaming, but honestly, just in all of gaming. I don't know where it ranks. There's certainly more successful games, but it's up there, man, with the amount of money that this game raked in. But it's just one game of many at Kabam. And you see some of their other titles, they haven't really worked out too well. We know about Realm of Champions, right? That was kind of the spin-off game to MCOC, set in like the same universe, sort of. And that game had some pretty good potential, but after talking to Gabe and kind of hearing how things went there, it seemed like they just didn't have enough time. Because of course it takes, teams of people working thousands and thousands of hours on these games, and in the interest of the company, they don't know if the game's going to work out or not. So these games try to get pushed out the door before they're ready, and yeah, of course that's not going to end well. So Realm of Champions didn't work out, and then now we're looking at King Arthur having, I don't know if it's going to be a similar fate. It seems like they're taking a little bit of a different approach. I'm not going to watch this video. I'm not going to show you guys this video. We're just going to look at it for 1 second. But if you want to watch it yourself, this was uploaded by Unstable Gamer about 2 months ago. And, I've never played King Arthur, but it is a game made by Kabam. And therefore, again, even though it's not my business, it's a little bit my business to understand some of these aspects of these games and the studio. So I checked out this video, which I can recommend watching. It's a fairly short video that breaks this down pretty nicely. So well-made video, and it mostly just details this forum post. Sorry, not forum post, actually Discord post that was put out by Kabam Dork, that kind of says, hey, the game, it's not exactly where they want it to be, so they're pulling back. They're going to release it when it's ready. That's the gist of it. So, these things, they're all kind of connected, since it all is under, Kabam. And, these things, some of them, the way that they're connected, it could be coincidental, or it could not be coincidental. Either way, kind of hard to ignore. I don't know exactly how it's going to affect the game going forward, because again, as great of a replacement as Dave is and is going to be, hopefully he doesn't get burnt out, and then also find a new place of employment as well. And hopefully Kabam can come up with a different way to keep players engaged other than, this. Because, yeah, MCOC, it's a pretty mature game, so finding new and interesting ways to challenge players and keep players engaged, it's not an easy thing. And I guess, I don't know, maybe that's good enough for a conversation starter for right now, because there's always more that could be said, but, I do kind of want to hear from you guys. Especially during live streams when we're able to have a little bit more of that back and forth, but also in the comments if you guys want to share your thoughts on it all. The only thing I'll say, if you're going to leave comments, especially if you're going to leave negative comments, do so about the game itself. It's totally fair to share things that you dislike about the game. And if you are going to talk about Kabam, do so on a company scale rather than any of the individual developers working on this game. Because I think many of us, I'd say the vast majority of us, we've probably been there where, hey, even if you are awesome at your job, there's still only so much that you individually could do. So if you're understaffed and overworked, and now you're suddenly pulling double duty and maybe covering for people that are out sick or something like that, dude, suddenly you turn from an amazing person at your job to someone that's just trying to keep the ship afloat, and doing the best you can there, which looks like doing the bare minimum, but in reality, you're still busting your ass. I think a lot of us have that sort of experience, so try not to talk about any individuals too negatively, okay? And the last thing I'll say is, if you're going to join me in some of these speculations, please keep in mind that they are just speculations. Okay, I don't know if layoffs are involved. I don't know if these people left on their own volition. I don't know if the other titles being worked on at Kabam and them not being as successful have impacted the MCOC game team and what that looks like. I don't know these things, okay? They're just speculations. So Do not talk about these things as if they are fact, because that is when speculations become dangerous. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. But okay, I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining the conversation. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.